Hey, I'm Andy, and welcome to Rock, Roll, and Red Plaid. All right, we are back at it again. Rock, Roll, and Red Plaid podcast. I forget the episode numbers, but it doesn't matter because we've got Doug Cabot here. Hello, sir. How are you?
Well, thanks. How are you?
Good, good. It has been, suggested to me to have you on by many of people, including
Really?
including one Robbie Stokes, who I just spoke to like 2 minutes before I came on air. He's like, "No way!" He's like, "I would."
How's Robbie?
He's good. I had him on a few episodes ago.
Oh, yeah.
He's
Okay.
doing some fantastic like singer-songwriter stuff, and
Uh-huh.
he's done two records, two full lengths at this
That's
point.
great. I remember hearing that he was getting into that. That's great. I gotta
Yeah.
listen. I gotta go check it out.
It's very Jimmy Buffett, sunshiny pop, he calls it, like
Hmm.
very good timey stuff, which I
Hmm.
like,
I remember listening to some and being impressed.
Awesome. Well, he wanted to, if he was home, he wanted to bomb the interview and just come in randomly, but he wishes you well. So
That would have been really funny to have him pop up.
for frame of reference for those watching when this goes up, it's like, what is the connection here? Well, you were me and Robbie's digital film TV studio teacher in high school, and I can't speak for Robbie, but I can say for myself personally that that class kept me from dropping out.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
That's good to know. Well, I
you.
remember you guys had quite a great little group there. Was that was Robbie? Was Sean
hmm
part of that? Was
Sean
AJ
Reynolds.
there?
Yep, yep, yep.
AJ
Uh,
was there.
Joseni, Lauren.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, right,
What a
Lauren.
crew.
Yeah, it was a great class. There was some really
So
fine work that came out of that.
many
Plus,
interesting.
plus, plus the moniker that was given to me. I think not entirely, uh, you know, benignly, but still, I completely rolled with it, which was um,
I think
resting bulldog face, which was something that that,
that's a
that
way to put it.
I think AJ said because I would be over there working on my computer while you guys were doing whatever you were doing, and yeah.
Whatever he's doing. I remember the depth of field we wound up using because um, I'm 6'4" and Robbie comes up to about my ribs. So
Yeah, yeah.
the great depth of field angle perceptions that we were able to do. Like he would always be playing the teacher or something, and I would be the student, and he'd be going, well, he's like, don't he I think there was a line once where he goes, don't make me get a step ladder and fight you to the death.
Yeah, you
Yeah.
guys did some sort of fantastic final video with
Oh,
you playing your like heavy metal
yep.
guitar through the hallways and
There was one of
sunglasses.
those. There's definitely one of those, probably something similar to these frames here, but
Yeah, as a matter of
it
fact.
was some things never change. But
Yeah. How long ago was that?
graduated in 13. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
But it, like I said, I indebted to you and that class because that's what helped me get through whatever dreariness or stuff I didn't want to deal with. So never to be underestimated a good teacher in a good class. So
that's nice to hear. It's very nice to
I
hear.
mean it.
I mean, and at the same time, it's those classes of kids who are really motivated and creative and a little bit crazy, like the one that you were in, that keep me going in that job. Because there are
Absolutely.
definitely classes that don't quite reach that, mark,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
I got to do my best with them. But you guys had a lot of momentum, a lot of energy.
yeah. I remember one of the first projects which pitted the boys against the girls to do a music video, and of course ours, the guys was just silly, completely silly. But the award-winning project that the girls did, I mean, I think they used "Call Me Maybe" because that was of the rave of the time.
Right, right.
That song, which of course I had no choice but to hate at the time, but it came back to bite me because years later I find out that my vocal coach, her brother wrote that.
Oh,
Yep. Go figure.
wow.
So I'm like, oh, sorry.
That's a meal ticket right there.
No kidding.
Yeah.
But what was not left out in those classes were definitely a lot of musical and audio aspects. Um, I guess it's one of those things where I guess my question is what was the importance for you to bestow on those classes of kids such as us to as a takeaway, like whether it be one thing. I'm trying to
Hmm.
phrase it.
I think I get your
Yeah,
question.
yeah,
Um,
the takeaway, if one thing.
I think the only thing I really hope to do, not the only thing I hope to do, but one thing I really hold as a real high goal in those classes is to communicate my enthusiasm for the subject and my joy in kind of being creative, whether visually or with music or now with art because I'm teaching painting and drawing as well.
Really? Okay.
And if almost like you've done a good job as a parent if you have an interest and it's a passion,
Mhm.
and when you see your kid like picking that up, tuning in, and knowing that it's gonna, it may not show up immediately, but it's planted in there. And if I can kind of get in deep like that and get kids to not just not just be enthusiastic about the particular stuff that I like or that even that I do, but just to recognize in themselves that feeling of being stoked
Yeah.
about doing creative stuff and raising their own expectations, around what's possible, around what they can do.
Yeah.
Uh,
I
yeah, because that takes you a long way, as you know.
yeah, absolutely.
That
Yeah,
that kind of excitement and inspiration just to do stuff, just to create is
yeah.
it's like a life. It's a lifeline for
Yeah.
a lot of us.
There's definitely going to be more kids such as myself who are like on the cusp of just like, you know what, I'm done, man. I'm just going to go do something else that could have been a lot worse. And it's that one class that'll keep going, okay, I gotta go in just to see what's going to happen next. It's really what it was,
That's
you know.
amazing. That's great.
Yeah. Yeah.
Great.
And
So I've expanded now. I think when you were there, I was still just basically teaching digital. I think it was called digital film. It may have been expanded to digital film and animation at that point. I don't
just
remember if I was.
barely at that point.
I think I was starting to roll out like a kind of a 2D animation component to that class. In
Hmm.
fact, I think for 1 or 2 semesters it was its own thing, animation, and then it became rolled in, and then the year-long class got condensed to a
Yeah.
semester-long class. So that's kind of one of the basic things I teach. I also teach painting and drawing,
Hmm.
and there is now a digital music class. Has been for the last 6 years or so. So,
Wow.
so back when did you know Miss Goodwin, Leanne Goodwin? She was the theater
Hmm.
teacher. Yeah, awesome teacher, and
Amazing.
she was kind of the instigator of creating this digital music class. It
I
was
could.
something that I had thought of, or in some
Hmm.
version thereof, I had been kind of thinking about trying to
Yeah.
create as well. Although I think in my case, I was more focused on the idea of more like a school of rock sort of setup with people playing instruments and recording.
Yeah.
Um, she wanted to do more kind of a desktop music along with some
Sure.
studio
Yeah.
recording stuff.
Yeah.
It's really as time has gone on, it's evolved into really strictly just a desktop music public, production class. So kids
Yeah.
work with, you know, they learn there's a bunch of different software in the beginning, a lot some online stuff, and then they learn about beats and kind of
Yeah.
making a backbeat and kind of creating the
Yeah.
foundation that way. And then we
Yeah.
get into um, audio editing using GarageBand, and then into MIDI production,
Wow.
simple stuff.
Yeah, but even then you can do a bunch of stuff with that, even the simple
Yeah,
stuff, you know.
yeah, yeah. It's a really fun class, and I wish in a way that's all I taught right now. Yeah, that's the one I really love teaching.
Sure.
Uh,
Yeah.
the digital film and animation is still great fun as well, and the painting and
Yeah.
drawing is fun. I'm getting better at teaching it, and it's not. It was sort of by necessity rather than by choice, but
Yeah.
it's good. It's all
Yeah.
good.
Yeah. Y'all don't want to see me paint.
No.
I painted, I think I took one of them in my senior year, but it's only because I had passed everything else and I just needed stuff to fill my day, you know. But
Hmm.
it was just like
Hmm.
I'm already kind of shaky as it is with the meds I take for my bipolar disorder. So that already is gonna mess with the canvas and that kind of little bit. I can play guitar just fine, but it's like it's those fine writing.
Fine motor stuff. Well, yeah,
Yeah,
you just have to work big then.
yeah, big
Work big
canvases.
and abstract. Yeah, there you go. Can't mess it up.
No, after that point, it reminds me of there's a music video for from the band Trivium, like a metal band from Florida, where they had while the band is playing on a stage, there's this artist. Just it looks like he's murdering the canvas. He's just
Cool.
going through this crazy thing, and of course, at the apex of the song, it looks like he's like struggling with the painting, and it just the camera pans up, and he's just like, yeah, it's of course all for dramatic effect, but
Yeah.
as
Yeah.
they pan out at the end of the video, the band that has painted the band's logo and the latest album cover. I'm like, oh, that's clever. Okay.
Okay. Nice.
So bringing those two mediums together, I've always found interesting, and that kind of I've seen bands with artists paint during their set, like behind the drummer or something, stuff like that.
Wow.
It's
Sure, why not?
interesting. Yeah, and just another part of it, you know.
Hmm.
Um,
Hmm.
Your I remember this photo you had on your desk. I don't know where in the world it was from, but I believe it was you with a snow leopard or something.
Interesting.
Am I completely, is this photoshopped or did you really take a picture of a snow leopard
Tell
somewhere
me
in
more about the picture. I've definitely never been near a snow
it is
leopard.
a giant super long lens, like one of those super zoomed lens, and
Yeah.
I could be totally wrong. I don't know why I'm thinking of this, but I never got to ask you about that. And it was just like it looked like a white lens, the lens itself was like a beige. It's just, but it was like the lens itself. It looked like it was almost like the
Wait, so
barrel
it's a picture of me that you're remembering with this lens,
with this giant
as if
lens.
I'm photographing the snow
Yes, so
leopard.
someone else is taking it. I
Hmm.
haven't this. Did you photo? This is
No, no, I don't. I've never held a very long lens in my
then
life.
what am I remembering?
I don't know. I almost don't want to,
The
script
illusion,
this
the
script this
illusion of the Cabot.
illusion. Yeah, right. I love the association, but it's I'm
I,
afraid it
I'm
might not be totally based in
in
um,
re
reality.
I think I always thought it was like the lure and the myth of the Cabot is that you were like I don't know somebody I don't know who said this maybe they said it as a joke and I just took it seriously because sometimes it goes over my head.
Okay.
Oh yeah, he was on an expedition in Antarctica and he came across a snow leopard.
No, well, so you're getting closer to the truth. I was on an expedition in
Oh,
Arctic,
okay.
not
Oh,
Antarctica, but the
ah,
north one, and that was on a Viking ship. So it was a sailboat, and yeah, I was a crew member on this replica Viking ship.
okay.
We were recreating Leif Erikson's voyage of discovery from Greenland over to the North America across the Davis Strait,
Uh-huh.
North Atlantic, a long time ago in the
Hmm.
90s.
Hmm.
And so there might have been some pictures connected to that, but and there were polar bears, and
Okay.
you may have
Okay.
watched the some of the so I made a film after the fact. I kind of gathered all the footage that had been shot
Right.
and made a documentary, and I probably showed it to you guys.
Okay.
Yeah, anybody curious can Google "the men who would be Viking," and it's up there on YouTube in glorious standard definition, I believe. I might have upresed it. I might have
Four-
found a way to upres.
480p. Is it
Yes,
480p?
720 by 480.
720.
Um,
Uh,
but it looks okay. And the men who would be Viking. Yeah, that
the
was the
men who
so
would be
that that's
Viking.
that's the core that's the kernel of the story
Oh,
that
man.
you're working with there.
That was, well, it's been so long since
Yeah.
because yeah, I do you find yourself in these digital film classes? I mean, we cast you as the villainous teacher more than a fair share amount of times. It's a little too easy to be typecast sometimes. I mean, what is it like when you are helping certain students with the writing process? Because there's an element of creative writing to these scripts, or
Mm-hmm.
even if it's silent movies, there's physical dialogue, you know.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Because I remember when we would get going on something, there were a few times where you would watch our first draft of something or read it and just go,
And then give you notes.
No, sometimes you just go, no. And then that was it, and then walk away. I think that was the first time, though, to try and get us to think.
Uh-huh. But like you had come up with maybe a story idea, kind of a plot
Yeah,
idea, and
and you kind
and I
of
just rejected it.
not in a bad way, but in a
Uh-huh.
way that was like it made us think again, like, oh no, this could be better.
Mm-hmm.
That so
So what I usually, yeah, I mean, there's all kinds of reasons to try to get kids to think about their process or their ideas a little bit differently. We do movie trailers, so I don't even
Mhm,
teach in it like a advanced level digital film and animation like I did with you guys. So I had a lot
mhm,
more leeway to give you guys more sort of let's do skits,
mhm,
let's do crazy uh, videos that you guys kind of come up with. It's a little more formulaic now. I mean, I have them do kind of an experimental type film, and I have them do a movie trailer, and you might have done that, I forget. But,
yeah.
when it comes to, let's say, dreaming up the idea for a movie,
Hmm.
which they're going to then figure out what the trailer needs to show and shoot only that. Um, the biggest thing I try to get kids to see is that showing things, being visually minded, thinking about how one shot's going to cut to the next, and how you can keep the viewer engaged without a lot of dialogue. A lot of the time,
Mm,
kids will default to, well, we need to sort of tell this story verbally. You know,
yeah.
you, you know, try to set up this whole story.
Hmm.
And I'm giving them, you need to have a certain amount of exposition, and then you need a certain amount of rising action. In fact, you need almost all rising action, because you're going to take us right to the
Yeah.
climax of the film, but you're not going to show how this whole thing gets resolved.
Right.
Um, I'm always pushing kids to be more visual, to be more, think about the shot types, think about how to show, the drama of the moment, get a reaction shot. Don't just sort of do a long shot and have people talking to each other, and then, somebody chases somebody down the hall. They're always sort of based around school.
Oh
Um,
yeah.
and also beyond that, like, get weird, like, think of something crazy, try to, do things where you're bending time, or there's you know body swaps, or there's ghosts, or there's a lot of cool little things you can do with editing.
Uh,
We use a
yeah.
tripod, just don't do the old. It seems like a lot of kids just go to, there's an intruder, right?
Or
And
yeah,
understandably, right? But there's, or there's a bullying situation or just some kind of
yeah,
dystopian thing that maybe draws on people's fears and stuff. And
yeah,
and then it gets kind of conventional feeling after that.
yeah,
But I try to get kids to go like, why not sci-fi?
yeah.
Why not a comedy? You know,
Thinking outside the box.
yeah, do
Yeah,
something, do something weird, do something totally unusual.
yeah. I think I think me and Robbie did a one of those like body swap kind of things, but it did have to do with a quasi-bullying situation. But again, we thought through your help there, we thought outside the box where his scrawny little nerdy character was working with electricity, got zapped, and turned into me.
That's right. I remember that
You remember
very
that? Okay.
edit. Yeah, that was
And
funny.
we had like the lights going off. Someone was flicking the lights behind the camera, making it look
Right,
like the power's getting blown out. And
right.
that was fun though, because
That was
again,
fun.
thinking outside the box,
Yeah, yeah. I mean, that was a group of kids who were you could count on to like just come up with something wild. And there have been others, there have been
Oh
other
yeah.
kids. And I love that when they just bring this thing that everybody goes, what are you even, they come up with this idea. And there was a kid named Connor. I think he was well before your time. Connor
Okay.
Busodarnis. I think he's out in LA doing film stuff now, I
Really?
believe.
Okay.
Yeah. And he was one of those students that, just
Nice.
worked with him for years after that on these little 48-hour film projects. And
Yeah.
but yeah, he was one of those kids who was a freshman. He just came in and he was like, he wanted to write a script and he wanted it to be just almost like experimental. Like it didn't really make
Yeah.
any sense. It was
Yeah.
just bizarre. And I was like, great,
Love it.
do
Love
it.
it.
And then the other kids are looking at him like, but they could see he had a vision, he had passion,
Yeah.
and they were like, okay, man, like let's do it. And so,
It's kind of like, you got anything better? No. All
mm-hmm,
right.
right, right.
There's always seems to be, even with us in our group, we had a lot of de facto ideas, but sometimes they're in groups like that. It could be classes, it could be bands, it could be even if it's sports team. There's always like a de facto guy where it's like, okay, he or she seems to have the idea, you know,
Mm-hmm.
and not that the other people aren't contributing, but somebody always has the catalyst, always has the starter idea, and it just gets that one little snowflake rolling into the
Yeah,
avalanche that it becomes, you know.
be true. But it really
Yeah.
gets good when there's two or three of those
Oh
people and
yeah.
there's a little
Oh
bit
yeah.
of creative
Yeah.
tension or collaboration.
Sure.
Yeah.
I I wish I had gone to find my yearbook too, because I don't know who signed what, because everybody had been given the same moniker of Jim. We were all Jim for
Jim.
whatever reason. I don't know where that came from,
Right.
but even you, well, at least I knew it was you because you signed it Mr. Jim. But and I'm like,
Forgotten that. That's great.
I don't know where that came from, and it must have been Robbie. I must say, it sounds like too perfect for something that.
That sounds
But
very much like a Robbie thing. Or Robbie and you know who I think it was? I think it was Sean Reynolds.
really,
Is that his last name?
Reynolds, yeah, Sean Reynolds.
Yeah, I think that was him. I think he started calling everybody Jim. Was that who was the there was like a smaller blonde boy,
Oh,
wasn't there?
Adam, Adam.
Adam.
He wasn't
Adam
even
what?
in our class. He just started showing up one day. Maybe he was enrolled, but I don't
No,
remember. He
I think
just gets
I had him in something else. But yeah,
okay.
yeah.
Was that him?
Another just kind of oddball who like fed off this weird energy that was going on.
But creative as the day is long.
Yeah, yeah, very much. Yeah, and he would make these sort of appearances in videos, like
Where did he come from?
random. Yeah, I'm trying to remember.
I don't know either. I
Yeah,
have,
but anyway, I
yeah,
think it was Sean and Robbie maybe that came up with the
this is
gym
great. But like, I remember when we started doing
thing.
stuff at Salem Access, we did a little bit of that. I think I went down there once and I had borrowed my friend's white top hat and white suit coat to be a la Cab Calloway.
Oh wow.
And and I had like a walking stick and everything,
Yeah, yeah.
and
I believe
I
it.
I
I don't remember
remember
that exactly, but I totally
no.
believe it. Yeah. Yeah, we had a big that was a big component of the program for a while there. It was the
Yeah,
Salem High News being recorded down at Salem SATV.
yeah. So much so that the program I go to now um in Salem, it's like a program for people with different disabilities and stuff like that. We have a weekly newscast, and we shoot it. We shot it today, and we write the script through the beginning of the week, and then it goes out Monday morning to us.
Awesome.
And we have equally amount of cast of characters that just
I
seem to
bet.
find their way into whatever feature they're doing. You know, like
Mhm.
a friend of ours has commandeered the sportscast for his very own, and
Okay.
we don't even have to give him a script. Just wind him up and let him go. You know.
Hmm.
But it never leaves the back of my mind that, um, to think outside the box, like you were saying, that was, I think, the thing I took away from the classes that came. It's like, okay, normal's overrated. What can we do different?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Uh,
I'm a believer.
but the music you do, speaking of outside the box, it's like, hello, second coming of Frank Zappa. Thank you very much.
Is that an association that you made? I so you listened to some of the stuff
I
I've worked
listened
on
to a little bit. I
lately.
think I listened to Walk Through or Walk Away. I forget the title.
Walkabout, walk among,
Walkabout, something like
something
that.
about it. Yeah,
That's very Zappa-ish, if you ask me.
interesting.
That's what I took.
You're the first to point that out. I guess I'm not totally surprised. I'm a huge Zappa fan, but I
There it
wouldn't put
is.
myself in the uh, category of any of him or any of his musicians. And the stuff that I
Mm,
do is all just self-produced. I'm just
right,
tracking my own
right.
stuff, basically.
Yeah,
Uh, so,
yeah.
but maybe some of the sensibility is there, or it's just a little off beat, a little off kilter, which is
Yeah,
again
well, we wear our influences on our sleeve, you know.
right,
We all
right, and they
do.
come out despite us, I guess, without even
Yeah.
recognizing it. Yeah, so I have this little studio. Can I show you around?
Please do. Yeah. Look at
So
this.
this is in my house. There's the rest of the house, and there's my
Look at
drums back
this. All mic'd
there.
up. Way
Oh
to
my
go.
God. Yeah, got a keyboard there that I don't really use. If I'm going to put a keyboard on something, I just go with this
Naturally.
little MIDI jobber. Where is it? Can you see
I
it?
see it. I see it.
Yeah. Oh yeah, that. Um, and I got my SG here.
Hmm.
It's an Epiphone,
Nice. I see that. Yeah.
but it's
Ooh.
red, and I love it. And
Yeah. We love red here, as you know.
yes, we do. And let's see. Sometimes I'll track with uh, this
The precision bass.
yeah, that P bass there.
Yeah. Nice.
Um,
I'm just seeing the neck there, but
you know what? I think it's a jazz bass.
oh really? Okay, there you go.
Yeah,
Oh, it is red. We do indeed like the red.
yeah. So yeah,
You
that's
had
kind of.
you had a hollow body last I recall. I don't know if that was the schools or not, but it was like an
Oh
ES.
yeah, no, I did. I had this Epiphone
I remember that. That was nice. I
semi
played that.
hollow body guitar. Yeah, I
Yeah.
sold that.
Okay.
And
I
I went a
remember
long
that.
time without
Yeah.
having.
That was a
I'm
nice
on a
one.
podcast. I'm on a podcast.
Yes, you
My
were.
daughter Lida over there. She's
Hello.
on a podcast too. This
Famous
is
and
Andy.
infamous. There's only
You are
two
now on
letters.
Rock and Roll Plaid with Mr. Andy Carlin.
There's only two letters that separate famous and infamous, so
That's true.
it's very true.
All
But
right.
yeah, but yeah, yeah.
So
I was gonna say,
if I think I have one more thing that I have to upload to YouTube. The problem with uploading to YouTube is you got to come up with a video.
yeah,
Because you can't just upload music.
the music. Yeah. Do you know about DistroKid and how to upload it that way?
What's it called?
DistroKid.
DistroKid.
We're not
No.
sponsored here, but we use it here at Rock Roll Red Plaid. We
Tell me, because I was just thinking to myself, I'm just gonna do a Google, because coming on here made me think, oh, yeah, I need to get that thing up there.
yeah,
Um,
yeah. I'll write it
and
in
I was
the
like, well, you must be able to just submit a song and there must be somebody out there that has like
there you go.
an
That's the
AI based,
yeah.
video, even if it's just very abstract AI
Yep.
based video creation
Well,
thing.
regardless, that's how you get the music up, like Spotify and Apple Music up over there. That's
Okay.
the site there.
So what does it do? What is it? How does it add
It's
video?
that I don't know if they have that feature, but they do. They can project your music onto different streaming platforms and stuff. I don't know if that's what you were looking
Oh,
for. Oh, you're looking for the more video thing.
so yeah, that's the thing, because to put it on YouTube, it's got to have a visual component.
Yeah.
So
Mm.
that's what I'm thinking. And of course I can just put it in Final Cut, add a still image, and just be done with it, right? It could be black,
Yeah,
but
right.
that's not what I want. I
That's
want something that's kind
no.
of fun to watch. A lot of the earlier stuff I did on my channel that you'll see if you go there, like earlier down, I was really playing around with Stable Diffusion, like making
Mm.
AI art video,
Yeah.
trying to tweak um, these prompts in the video creation. It was called, within Stable Diffusion, it's called I'll think of it. Um, but there's a kind of plug-in that strings
Mm.
together images into videos, and I was
The blender.
just
The
doing this
blender.
weird. No, it's not like a computer animation. It's literally just having
Oh.
um, the Stable Diffusion based models. It's called Deforum, is this one sort of
Oh, okay.
plugin. It builds, it creates. You can make pictures using AI, right?
Oh, yeah.
Well, this makes video
Yeah.
using AI, but you give it prompts and you say what frame it's going to be changing to this, or
Yeah.
this is the new prompt. Excuse me. And so that's just creating all this wacky stuff and
Oh,
then
yeah.
adding that to
Always.
the music. But that was, for a while, it was kind of like I'm making these to me these really fun, wild, trippy videos, and then I'm just going to add some music. So just make something drony that goes along
Sure.
with it
Yeah.
goes along with the video. And then after a while, I was like, I'm a little tired of that. That's not holding me as much as just creating
Mm.
music here in a little studio. So,
Yeah. It would
so
definitely
something.
go. It would definitely go good with the Zappa vibe of the music there. That trippy kind of thing there.
Yeah, yeah. I'm gonna
Yeah.
look into that. It occurred to me there's so many like little
Yeah.
AI, image startups, and there's stuff that will create any kind of text to voice that you want, and it sounds very human. There's
Yeah. And
so
it's
there's got to be something
yeah.
out there that can kind
Yeah.
of create. It's challenging to make. I mean, I know there are video. I'm really interested in this stuff, this AI
I
video
could tell.
creation, and there's some stuff like Sora that OpenAI is creating that's going to be that based on the examples they've shown, it's not really open available to the public yet. Although I
Mm.
think just a couple of days ago they've rolled something out, but that's very realistic. It's very impressive looking video. I don't know how long the clips are. That's an issue when you
Right.
have a 5 minute song, right? But there's
Yeah.
but to do something that's not trying to look photorealistic, or to
Yeah.
try to or that wants to kind of make sense for a long stretch of minutes,
Right.
but is instead
Yeah.
just colors, just abstraction. I bet
Yeah.
that's out there. I'm going to check
Yeah.
it out as soon
Yeah.
as I
Yeah.
get off, so you can
Going
look and
back.
see.
Yeah. Going back real quick to sounding like your influences, whether we'd like to or not. I find that so fascinating because between you, myself, and another friend of mine, all three of us have found ourselves in that same situation. Just within the last week, I was talking to my friend about this. He's been on the podcast too. He's really into his favorite band is the Dead Kennedys, and the way he sings, he's a dead ringer for their
Jello
singer,
Biafra.
Jello Biafra. And I didn't really put two and two together until I started listening to more of the Dead Kennedys. I'm like, whoa, dead ringer. And
Mhm.
so much so for myself, which I don't mean to, but like when I put out my last song and it got some radio play on WBR out of Lowell, the radio host comes back at me and says, "Are you a Satriani fan?" I go, "Yeah, I can tell," he said. I'm
Mm,
like, "Oh, I'll take it. I'll take it for sure."
totally, for
So,
sure.
yeah, and so much
In
the
terms of
same
your
for,
playing,
yes, and like the
yeah.
little stylistic things there. I'm like, maybe not the crazy flying stuff, obviously, but I just
Mm,
find it interesting between the three of us. It's like, not that we're purposely going after like, oh, I'm going to sound exactly like Zappa or Satriani or Jello Biafra, so whatever. It's just interesting that these artists have had such an impact on us that it becomes embedded in us to the point where when we project, it's like, oh,
excuse me one
that's okay.
second. More people entering the house.
That's good.
Speaking of guitar heroes of the '80s, I guess the new incarnation of King Crimson, the latest. Do you know King Crimson at all?
Yep, Steve Vai
Yeah,
and Adrian Belew,
right.
and
The one with Steve Vai. Yeah, we saw
they
that.
were just at the Lynn Auditorium
They
last week.
were.
Did you
They
go
were.
or?
I went to the one a couple months ago at
Oh,
Hampton Beach.
how was it?
It was great.
Oh my
It was
goodness.
great.
Danny Carey on drums, Tony Levin.
Danny Carey
Yeah.
on drums, Tony Levin, and Steve Vai, and Adrian Belew, and they were monstrous. They really
It,
produced a big sound
yeah.
for a bunch of old guys. It's
Da-
shocking to realize how old Tony Levin's
yeah.
like 78, and
Is he really?
Adrian Belew's like in his 70s, but
Yeah.
they were
Yeah.
they were huge. And I like Danny Carey in Tool.
Hmm.
I wouldn't say he was the best choice for that. He just didn't have that kind of just that finesse. I'm not sure anybody has the finesse
No.
of Bill Bruford, who was kind of one of my
Yeah.
maybe is my all time favorite drummer.
Mm.
So, but Steve Vai was good. I mean,
Yeah.
he wasn't Robert Fripp, but he didn't exactly try to be.
No, well, he's played with Robert Fripp before, so I mean,
Steve Vai.
in the G3 tours, he's done that with Satriani and Robert Fripp. So that's an
Oh,
interesting.
really?
Yeah,
And Steve Vai?
that was I don't know where in the world because depending on where they traveled, it's three different guys. But it's always Satriani because that's like his deal, that what he
Huh.
does.
And
But
so that happened with Fripp too.
mm-hmm.
Cool. Didn't know.
Uh, what does the year 2025 look like for Doug Cabot?
Another year of teaching at Salem High School. Another year of bringing up kids. They're starting to trickle out of the house. They're now 18 and 16 and 5.
Wow, you got the gamut.
I have a 5-year-old girl named Julia who's
Uh-huh.
absolutely fantastic.
That's awesome.
And we are, yeah, so school and music. And, I'm playing with some friends up in Newburyport.
Hmm.
We've been jamming together for years and years and are only now really kind of scheming around how to create a something where we kind of go out and play like in bars
Yeah,
because it's fun. So kind of playing covers instead of doing what we normally
yeah,
do, and I've done with some other friends a lot lately too, is to just get together and absolutely jam. Like just don't have
absolutely.
any preconceptions, just
Oh, yeah,
pure improvisation, which can be
yeah,
very fun. Is very fun. It's kind of my favorite thing. But this will be a fun change too.
yeah, yeah.
Um, and what else? Starting the year in Mexico with my family. That's going to be really
Nice.
fun.
Very
Yeah,
good.
right around New Year's, and do a lot of sailing in the summer, and
Sailing.
yeah,
Nice.
swimming.
Nice.
Yeah,
Love it.
take
If
advantage.
if you get to the which I hope you truly do with the group you're playing with, if you need an opener, I am available in any way,
Okay,
shape, or
good.
form.
All right, awesome. Thank you for
And that's
volunteering.
I will gladly. And
Okay.
I'll pull Stokes up on stage with me
Oh,
too.
really? That would be awesome.
Well, no, we'll see. He's a little shy. I'm like, hey, if you're watching Stokes, come on with. We'll all get there.
Yeah, let's do it. Let's do it. If we play somewhere in Salem,
Yeah, yeah.
let's make it happen.
No, let's do it. All right.
Okay.
This has been the Rock Roll and Red Plaid podcast, and I am going to turn off the tape right here and now. For more of my original content, visit my website, www.andyconley.com.